What is your cell phone doing to your mind without you even realizing it? In the era of hyperconnectivity, where we can talk to anyone in the world with a click, we have never been so alone. Seems contradictory, doesn't it? But this is the shocking reality that is affecting the mental health of millions. Let's understand why this happens and, more importantly, how we can change this scenario. Social isolation. We're not just talking about being physically alone, but that deep feeling of disconnection that can hit us even when we're surrounded by other people. Let's talk about Isabella, a 32-year-old executive. From the outside, her life seems perfect. Successful career, elegant apartment, busy social calendar. But inside, Isabella feels empty, as if she's living someone else's life. In work meetings, she feels like an imposter. At happy hours with colleagues, the laughter sounds fake. Even at family dinners, Isabella finds herself thinking, does anyone here really know me? This feeling of disconnection is not exclusive to Isabella. Many of us have already experienced this sensation of being alone in a crowd. It's as if there's an invisible barrier separating us from others, preventing us from achieving that inner peace we so desire. Your low self-esteem can worsen if you continue ignoring the causes of isolation. But why does this happen? Often, this disconnection stems from a misalignment between our deepest values and the environment around us. When we feel misunderstood or out of place, we tend to isolate ourselves, even if unconsciously. And here's the paradox. The more we isolate ourselves seeking protection, the more intense the feeling of loneliness becomes. It's a vicious cycle that can profoundly affect our search for a full and fulfilled life. But what leads someone like Isabella, or perhaps you, to feel so disconnected? Let's explore three main causes. First, we have distinct values. Imagine growing up in a family that values financial success above all else, but you secretly dream of being an artist. Every conversation about career becomes a reminder of how different you are, fueling the feeling of not belonging. Second, experiences of rejection leave deep scars. Remember that time in school when you weren't chosen for the team, or when your crush turned you down in front of everyone. These painful memories can make us build emotional walls, isolating ourselves to avoid future rejections. Lastly, unmet expectations can be devastating. Maybe you imagine that, at 30, you'd be married, with children and a dream career. When reality doesn't match these expectations, it's easy to feel like a failure and distance yourself from others out of shame or frustration. These causes intertwine, creating a complex web that traps us in social isolation. But understanding these roots is the first step to breaking this cycle. Now, let's talk about the consequences of this isolation. And believe me, they are more serious than many imagine. First, we have the impact on mental health. Studies show that prolonged social isolation can increase the risk of anxiety and depression by up to 30%. It's as if our brain, deprived of meaningful connections, starts working against us. Isabella, for example, began having panic attacks before social events. Her body reacted as if it were in real danger, even in seemingly harmless situations. Moreover, isolation profoundly affects our relationships. The more we isolate ourselves, the harder it becomes to form and maintain meaningful connections. It's a perverse cycle. We feel lonely, we isolate ourselves, which makes us feel even lonelier. Last but not least, we have the impact on self-esteem. When we feel disconnected from the world around us, we start questioning our own worth. Is there something wrong with me? Becomes a recurring thought, eroding our confidence day after day. This trio, mental health problems, relationship difficulties, and low self-esteem, forms a perfect storm that can push us further and further away from a full and fulfilled life. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, social media. They promise to connect us, but often do exactly the opposite. Think about it. You have hundreds, maybe thousands of friends online. But how many of them really know the true you? How many would be there if you needed help at 3 a.m.? Social media create an illusion of connection. We see the seemingly perfect lives of others and feel inadequate. Isabella, scrolling through Instagram before bed, wondered why everyone seemed so happy and fulfilled, while she felt empty inside. But here's the inconvenient truth. We're comparing our behind the scenes to others' highlights. This constant comparison fuels the feeling that we're not good enough, deepening our isolation. Moreover, social media amplify criticism and judgment. A negative comment online can echo in our mind for days, reinforcing our insecurities and making us retreat even further into our lonely comfort zone. It's a modern paradox. We've never been so connected and, at the same time, so alone. But all is not lost. There are powerful strategies to overcome social isolation and reconnect with the world and yourself. First, self-knowledge is fundamental. Isabella started practicing mindfulness and keeping a journal. Gradually, she discovered her true values and desires, separating them from the expectations imposed by society. Second, brain reprogramming. Our brain is plastic, capable of forming new thought patterns. Isabella began challenging her negative thoughts. Every time she felt inadequate, she stopped and asked herself, "Is this a fact or just my interpretation?" Finally, cultivating authentic connections is essential. Isabella decided to be more vulnerable. She started by sharing her true feelings with a close friend. To her surprise, he sometimes felt the same way. This honest conversation created a bridge, showing that we are not alone in our struggles. Remember, overcoming isolation is a journey, not a destination. There will be difficult days, but every small step towards authentic connection is a victory. These strategies are not just theory. They are practical tools that, if applied consistently, can transform our relationship with the world and ourselves. The true success and inner peace we seek so much begin with these genuine connections, with others and with our essence. Social isolation is a real challenge, but it's not invincible. By recognizing its signs, understanding its causes, and adopting effective strategies, we can break the invisible barriers that separate us from others. You deserve a full life, filled with genuine connections and inner peace. The first step to overcoming isolation is recognizing that we are not alone. If this video touched you in some way, leave your like, share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe to the True Potential channel for more content that will help you unlock your true potential and achieve a full and fulfilled life. Until the next video, you deserve genuine connections and a life full of purpose.